Hi everyone, my name is Michaela Winterton, and I am doing my topic presentation on Pakistan and India and their messy divorce and why it is so messy. So, I thought the best way to go about this would be sharing a timeline of their events, when they'd happen, and why. So that brings us to 1947, the start of it all. Britain had ended their ruling of the Indian subcontinent and it split the nations into two. So there was India and Pakistan. And most of India had Hindus in it, and most of Pakistan had Muslims. So it actually resulted in one of the largest human migrations ever, and people were just fleeing. It started a bunch of contention and riots, and it created lines just right then and there dividing the two nations overnight. So in 1947, the first war broke out between the two nations over Kashmir. And it only ended because the United Nations had called for a ceasefire. And when they did that, it did end. And that was on January 1st of 1949. So what is Kashmir and why are they fighting over it? So Kashmir is a territory that was fought between Pakistan and India. And there have been countless wars and fights that happen over and in Kashmir since the splitting. And so what makes it so special is the water. Pakistan is a very stressed country when it comes to water, and India is predicted to become very stressed as well by the year 2025. So making Kashmir a very important place for both of them. And it was once quoted that Kashmir is the jugular of Pakistan, meaning that without it, Pakistan would essentially die. In 1965, the second war between Pakistan and India broke out. And what happened during this event was that some Pakistanis dressed up as Kashmir locals and headed to the parts of Kashmir that were controlled by India. And the war just continued and continued, and the UN had a mandate for a ceasefire. And what happened at the end of that was a stalemate was reached, meaning that the parts of some parts of Kashmir that were controlled by India were being controlled now by Pakistan and vice versa. It was just a complete stalemate. So then in 1971, the third war between India and Pakistan started. However, this time it was not over Kashmir, but it was over East Pakistan. So when the Britons broke up the countries, there was West and East Pakistan that were divided between India. And India became involved in this mess because the Pakistani Air Force had launched some strikes in the northwestern part of India. And what started this all was that the central part of the Pakistan government, which is in West Pakistan, refused to allow their new leader to assume his elected position over the nations. And after Pakistan had involved India, India launched and assaulted East Pakistan, and it resulted in a surrendering of the Pakistani army, and more than 90,000 of its army became prisoners of war. And the war only lasted 13 days, resulting in one of the shortest wars ever. And on December 6th, East Pakistan ended up becoming their own independent country of Bangladesh. Now, going into the more modern age, we have the nuclear age. And in 1974, India had launched their first nuclear missile test. In 1988, there was an agreement signed between the two nations agreeing not to attack each other or their holdings with their nuclear stuff. And in 1992, both sides signed an agreement prohibiting the use of nuclear weapons. However, in 1998, India detonated 5 nuclear device tests, and Pakistan responded with 6. And it resulted in both the countries being sanctioned internationally. And later that year, because of their sanctioning, they decided to test long-range missiles. And it seems like there's a fight between whose country is better when it comes to these things. And sort of the divorce, and why is it so messy? In the conclusion, you have religion. So you have two sides, Pakistan and India with Hindus and Muslims. And then you have Kashmir, which is the territorial fight and the water stress. And now there's this whole nuclear race and which nation is better. And really it comes down to which country, will they ever find peace? And they keep trying to make these amends, but they don't end up having them. And so the future of Pakistan and India, we will just have to see. And that is my presentation. Thank you.